Yay Networks.
Hello.
We're back again.
Here we are one more time.
I didn't know this was sing-along.
Yeah, join in. La, 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 la. I'm Emily.
I'm Laura.
This is
Cheers to that shit. I don't sing unless I'm alone in the shower.
You did sing the other day in a meeting, and I had no idea what song.
Oh, yeah, because I can't carry a tune.
What song you're trying to sing.
Random on that. Do you ever, when you get sick or like have a sore throat or it's like really scratching that raspy, do you ever like, I love how my voice sounds. I wish I was that raspy singer. Like
Phoebe from Friends when she was.
I don't know.
That's
Like
immediately
Stevie
what I
Nicks or somebody who's just like, got that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's when I'm like, oh, I want this scratchy throat forever because I sound really good.
Good.
Good. So I was gonna say cool, and good came out instead. Whatever.
No, I don't think so. That just makes me think of Friends when like Phoebe is sick. You need to watch that episode because she like is she tries to be like all like sexy and seductive, and she's like playing in the guitar. She's like, oh, just like that as well.
Yep.
Just like that.
Yep.
Well, we are going to jump into it today because
we have a really cool guest today.
Very, very fun guest. We're excited. We have Nayri from Lovella Bridal, all the way from LA.
Yes.
And she's going to be on today. She's going to be talking about some bridal styles, answering some very popular questions. And she's also an author,
a speaker,
a coach. She does all of it.
She we met her recently at a conference in Clearwater, Florida, and she was just electric, kind of like she has that personality, and she's so passionate about educating.
Well, she helped us find like
right,
get, more spearheaded into what we're doing, help us get our direction back with what we're doing. Because we do other things than just a podcast.
But
she
as a wedding fashion expert, which is one of her Instagram pages, she's really passionate about educating the bride on the whole process of getting your wedding gown and just what goes into it and everything. So
and very woman empowering.
Yes, very, very. So I'm excited.
I want to be here when I grow up.
Me too.
So I know that was a super quick intro. Do you have anything happening in your life?
No.
Nope. Still got the
I
puppies?
think Yep. I feel like we should go.
Yeah, we're gonna
go right to her
in.
because she's got so much good stuff to share.
We're gonna take a break, and when we come back, she will be on with us. Okay, we're back.
Yes.
Let's bring her in.
All right.
Come on, Nayri.
Hi. How are
you? How are you?
I'm great. How's everything going?
Oh my gosh, so good. We are so excited to have you on. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, where you are, and kind of how you got started?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm Nayri, also known as Wedding Fashion Expert. I am a stylist, buyer, wear so many different hats at Lovella Bridal, and we're located in Los Angeles, California. There's so much I do. I don't even know how to intro myself. It's kind of crazy. Speaker, author, stylist. I do so many different things, but obviously everything to do with wedding fashion, business, entrepreneurship, you name it, I do it.
That is so exciting. When did Lovella Bridal open?
So it has been around since 1970, and I have been involved in it since 2011 full-time. I was involved in it before, but I was in college, so I was part-time.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
And the shopping experience is kind of something I want to talk about today because I've been doing some digging on your bridal shop, and I think it is so cool. Everyone has a different shopping experience when it comes to dresses, and every store is different. Every salon is different of how it's set up. And I think one thing that brides think of the minute they get engaged is who their support team is going to be. With that side of shopping, how many people is too many people to bring in when looking for a dress for the first time?
Love this question. So a lot of stores actually have put limits to how many people you can bring with you because of COVID. And that's kind of stuck with it. We kind of have, our store hasn't let it go. So we still allow 3 guests to shop with the bride, and that's about it. We have had brides come in with 20 to 30 people, and it's insane. Luckily, we have a pretty big store, so we can accommodate that much, but like you're standing. We don't have enough chairs for all those people, and it becomes really overwhelming for the bride. So we highly discourage it. I'm a big stickler on bring the people who are closest to you, who know your vision and your style, because a lot of guests project what they want to wear or what they think you should wear, but that's not really
Right.
you. So you want to be really, really mindful of that. And in my book, I talk about what I call the bride secret. It's perfectly fine for you to surprise everybody with your wedding dress. Like it doesn't just have
Yes.
to be your fiance, especially if you're someone that is so easily influenced by people's opinions.
Yes.
Yes,
That is something we talk about
yeah.
a lot. Go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing.
Oh, yeah. That like it's so sad when you see on all the like the shows that have the brides come in and they're like, "Oh my God, I love this dress. This is the one." And then someone's like, "No, I
They
don't. Let's
tear them
heinous."
down.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of that I'm sure is for TV too,
It
but
is,
yeah.
but when you bring more than 5 people, I would imagine that's a lot of opinions.
Yes.
That's a
Yes.
lot
It
of
is.
opinions.
It really is. And like the thing of it is that they might be bringing up something valid that is there, so it could be very helpful too. I don't want to say that like having an opinion there is negative, but that's why you have to really pick your people
Right.
wisely. And I don't know, at the end of the day, it's not really about what other people think, it's about what you want. And I think that we just live in a world where like we want feedback from people all the time, and it's just not that beneficial. It depends on the person. Honestly, it depends on your personality, your wants and your needs.
Yeah.
But there are certain cultures that require you to show your mother-in-law, or it would be very not even required, but it'd be very offensive if you didn't.
Oh,
Oh.
that's
Sometimes
interesting.
sometimes the in-laws are even paying for the dress, or in some cultures,
Mhm.
the fiancé is there every step of the way. So it is very unique for each individual. So don't like to just blanket statement everything.
Mhm.
So
Right.
I would say here you need to personalize it for you, but just know if you're swayed by people's decisions or not. And
Yeah, I think that
find a
I
way.
yeah, I think that's really good advice because I have some aunts that would just be like, "It's beautiful," and, like, they would give me, feedback that,
Yeah.
"Just wear that, it's beautiful. Anything you put on, you
Anything,
look
yeah.
great in," and
Yeah.
so I'm sure it can go both ways,
Like
you
that
know?
blanket compliment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that when I was trying on dresses and when I ended up showing my bridal party what my dress looked like, everyone was shocked because they thought I was going to want something really fitted. And I ended up in a ball gown because I was like, no, this is my one day to be Cinderella. I'm trying to look like a princess. Thank you so much. But if they would have all gone shopping with me, even my mom who went was
Right.
very like, well, just try on these dresses. These are like more fitted. This is an A-line. And I'm like, lady,
It's not what I want.
listen to me. So, on top of that, and following up with that question, what are some other kind of common mistakes or common, I don't want to say issues, but places that people may not know how to prep for when they walk into um, the shopping experience for their wedding gown?
Yeah, I think that so there's several, right? So like the first one being is that this need to touch every single dress that's in store.
Mhm.
So like people come in and they're like, "Okay, I have to go through the dresses." But here's the reality of it. If you're going to an expert stylist and a store that has a really great reputation, so something somewhere like Lovella, let's say, we have over 1,000 dresses in inventory. So for you
Mhm.
to touch every single dress, you're cutting into your appointment time. So
Right.
the advice that I'd give you first is I know it's so hard to trust a salesperson, but I want you to think of your bridal stylist as not a salesperson, as a stylist. So you have this opportunity to come in, to have a stylist get to know you. I know it's a short period of time, but you definitely want to have photos and descriptions of kind of what your vision is. Even if that vision is ends up being the complete opposite of what you end up with, you want somewhere to start. So tell them all the things, allow them to be your personal shopper. Allow them to maybe
Yes,
not land on the dress the first 5 dresses. It's okay. We're learning with every single dress you put on, and no dress is a waste of time because you're going to learn something from every single gown you put on, and this way you have no regrets, right? So once you say yes to that dress, you can't go back and say, "Oh, but I never got a chance to try this," because you're going to try all the things. At least that's what I encourage you to do so that you don't live in a place of regret or doubt or I should have done this, I should have tried this, right? So my first advice would be just get the salesperson out of your head for a minute and allow them to style you. Give them that opportunity. If 30 to 40 minutes into the appointment, you're like, okay, this person is not getting it, at that point in time, you can say, all right, I want to browse. Can I look at the dresses online? Do you have photos of them? Where can I see your inventory to better select? And I encourage you to ask the stores when you're booking appointments if you can browse the dresses online. So that way you're screenshotting dresses that are in their store that you can try. That's a great place to start.
That
The
is I've never even thought about that. That's really good advice.
That is a
Yeah.
great
Good.
advice.
I'm so glad that that resonates. So then I would also encourage you to find out the price point of dresses in the store that you're shopping, right? So do a little bit of research on the price point, the designers, the styles that you can shop so that you really know. And keep in mind that alterations are a separate fee. So people will oftentimes put a budget. I hate the word budget. I know hate's a strong word, but I really dislike the word budget. How much you're willing to invest? How much are you willing to invest in the dress and then the alteration process as well? And be really realistic about that.
How many people actually come in with zero ideas, zero clue, don't know what looks good on them, and really just are kind of trusting the stylist to help them find the perfect dress?
So I would say I would say maybe 50-50. But a lot of people think they know what they want, but they really have no idea. And then others like literally have no idea. And then there's the bride that knows exactly what she wants and what she tries on she ends up getting. That's very rare, I would say. It's
Yeah.
more so I would say majority is they think they know what they want. They have no idea what they want. But at the end of the day, most people don't know what gowns look good on them. Like there's no way for you to know because back in the day, I feel like even, proms were even more gowns and more lavish.
yeah.
Now we've done like short and funky and fun and slits. Like things have gotten, even though they're still formal wear, it's just a little bit more casual than things used to be back in the day. So you really have no idea what formal gowns, and what's really interesting, you have no idea how they actually feel. So when brides put these dresses on, they're like, holy smokes, this is so tight. I feel so restricted because all we wear is stretchy clothing all day.
That and it's heavy.
Heavy,
They're
yeah.
heavy. My dress was beaded and I was like, "Oh my God, this is ridiculously heavy. This is weighing me down."
Yeah.
I had to have boning added into it because it was
My dress was from the 90s, so it had all the things, the bows, the big sleeves, the rosettes, all the things.
I love it.
How
But
many dresses do you think people, or I guess, how many dresses do you recommend trying on in a fitting? And is there too many dresses? Like, can you start to get dress overload, overwhelmed?
I would imagine so.
such a good question. So some stores, okay, I'll start with this. Some stores have a limit to how many dresses you can try on. With
Mhm.
me, there's no limit. We have an hour to an hour, 15 minutes together. If you want to try on 50 dresses in an hour, have at it. It's all you. So I usually ask my brides, like, or have you hit your bandwidth? Like, are we just confusing you? Because there are some brides that can keep going and it's very helpful for them to see quantity. For other brides, it's about quality, handpick. You show them too much, they're going to get confused and they don't want to see too much. But there are brides that truly want to see everything and don't feel overwhelmed. So this is where the stylist has to check in with the bride, see where she's at, see the thresholds, understand what's too much for her, what's too little for her, because there are brides that will walk away going, gosh, she really didn't show me a lot of dresses. I don't feel like I tried enough. And then
Right.
they'll leave a review for the store. So the other thing I want any bride tuning in, for actually any couple tuning in, your vendors for wedding, anything that anybody is helping you with, they are only as good as the feedback you give them. Each
Yes.
Mhm.
individual is so different. Like, I can't serve you unless you communicate to me. Going online after the fact and writing a review when you
Mhm.
didn't communicate any of those things is not helpful to anybody involved. Now, it's helpful for the business to learn from it, of course, but the business can't do right on any of those things if you don't tell them in person and give them the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. I also think something we've talked about before too is once you find your dress, stop
Stop. Yeah.
looking.
Stop looking.
Stop looking. I think that's where people also they see like maybe a new trend came out for the following season and now they're like, "Ooh, I kind of like that more."
Yeah. Does that ever
The
come
dress
just with
regret.
the turnaround time? Because I know the lead time and the turnaround time on dresses is a long
Yeah.
time. Does that
Yeah.
happen?
So the lead time average is 6 to 8 months, so we recommend purchasing your dress about a year before your wedding is, like, the perfect timeline in an
Mhm.
ideal world. Not that you don't have options, so don't panic if you're tuning in and your wedding is soon, you have options. It just in an ideal perfect world, that's what we want. Yes, we do have brides who buy a dress and then see other dresses, especially when I go to Fashion Week and I'm posting, all these brides are DMing me, "Oh my god, I bought this dress. Do you think that it's still relevant?" And I can tell them exactly why their dress serves them better versus the dress they just saw me post. And there's
Yeah.
reasoning
That's
behind
great.
it. And I can tell them, like, hey, the beading isn't the same. The fullness isn't going to be as full. It looks it on this model. It won't be once it's in alterations. So it's great. I actually really appreciate when brides are having those feelings and seeing things and they communicate with me because it gives me the opportunity to give them a little bit more clarity, like, you made the right decision.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
validation.
Exactly, and they truly did, I'm
Yeah.
not just saying that. Now, there are brides who make the wrong decision, and that comes in to when they are listening to other people's opinions. I can't tell you how many times I have
Mm.
had brides that have made actually, there's two main reasons. One being they listened to other people's decisions, and the other being they made the decision based on cost to save money versus buying what they really loved. So
Yeah.
in these two scenarios, I do have brides buying a dress at the last minute, the one they originally wanted, whether it's our sample because we can no longer get it in time, or ordering it from the designer and paying a rush fee. So
Mm.
now they've spent more money. So do
Right.
yourselves a favor and buy your dress with what you love and not listening to other people's opinion, because even though it might be more expensive and you wanted to make the decision based on cost because you're a very logical person, that emotion in you, you're going to end up walking down the aisle in a dress that you didn't love.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
And it's a big purchase
Yeah.
and it's a lot of money for most people.
Well, and
So
it's the day that you wanna feel the
the
most
best.
confident.
Exactly.
Like,
And
I
the
don't
most beautiful.
Yes, yeah. All right, we're
Cool.
gonna take a break really quick, and then we come back, we'll dive more into bridal fashion and shopping. Okay, we are back. And while we were just chatting during the break, I thought of a question that I wanted to ask, which is when you're in an area where you may not have bridal shops that employ fashion stylists or fashion experts, and they are more of a salesperson, how do you kind of overcome those challenges?
I love this question because this is in fact the case, and I have had brides fly into different states to really seek out the stylist. I also think
Mm.
that there are some brides who don't really want the stylist. I can't tell you how many brides come to Lovella and they are just appalled at the idea that we are picking for them, and they are.
Really?
Yes. 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 And it's funny because I'll read some of the reviews. So we get submissions. So the way that our store works is once you come in to our store after your appointment, you have the opportunity to review us internally because we want to know how we're doing. And so we'll read a lot of those internal reviews, and a lot of it is like, we can't believe that their front door is locked. Why would they lock their front door? For security reasons. We have you ring our doorbell. It's also to protect everybody in the store so not a random can walk in. We're on a pretty busy, high traffic street. And the
Yeah.
other is like, they wanted to dress me and they didn't allow me in the fitting room by myself to dress myself in these dresses. And I wasn't able to pick the dresses. Well, that's a completely different experience. So to answer your question, those are brides that don't want the level of
Mhm.
service that we provide, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. We're just not a good fit for each other.
Right.
So for some brides, they just want the salesperson and they're
Mhm.
good with that, right? But other brides want more. They need more guidance. They want more help. They want it to be more personalized. So this is also another reason why you want to do research and find stores near you that identify with you. If it's a store that is going to care about your experience, you will know based on their website, based on their social media, based on the content that they put out, right? You're
Yes.
going to
Mhm.
see the difference between a store that's going to just offer you the merchandise, have at it, versus
Right.
one that's going to be more invested into your experience. And brides strive for that. They fly
Right.
for that. So
I'm sure.
you just have to do your research.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
sure designers play into that a lot too, because I
Oh, yeah.
know, oh, I have to have this gown from or a
Yeah.
gown from this designer.
Oh,
My
yeah.
daughter was like that.
You brought
Yeah.
up a good point, and because when I was trying on dresses for my wedding, I did not. I don't know what I was expecting. I'd never done it before, so I didn't know what to go into.
Me
But when they
neither.
walked in with the dressing room with me, and they were like, "All right, so go ahead and take everything off," and just kind of standing there, I was like, "Oh, okay, great." Like I just wasn't expecting it. And then like there are dresses that you can't wear your bra. Like they say wear a strapless bra, but then they're like, all right, so
Yeah.
take that off. And you're like, girl, we are gonna be best friends by the end of this appointment, huh? Like you are seeing it all. Like
I
it's
don't
just
I didn't know what to expect either, and I got married quite a long time
but
ago, but I'm telling you, if I went to a store and had to ring a doorbell, yes, I am all about that.
well that, but like, but you know what I mean? Like there's just certain things
Yeah.
like because you do like all the tips are wear, undergarments that you would want to wear under the dress. But there's nothing
Nobody
that's like
tells you
someone we're
you're
going to be in there helping you get in and out of the dress. So you're going to be butt ass naked while we're helping slip the dress on and off. And that's just, and there are some places that don't, but that is one thing. When you
it
said that,
caught
I
you
was
off
like,
guard.
it really did. It didn't sway my
Right.
experience.
Right.
I wasn't ever like, well, this is negative because it was helpful. But in that
Right.
moment, I was just like, oh,
You weren't expecting
okay,
it.
sure. Come on in.
Yeah, but that's helpful because I'm sure it's hard to get in and out a lot of those dresses.
Yeah.
It is, and most people don't realize bridal stores pay a lot of money for their inventory. So if you
Yes.
Mhm.
hang a dress by the mesh and you rip it, you've just ripped thousands of dollars. Like,
Right.
so it's a two-part thing. Like, yes, we want you to have a beautiful experience. We want to help you into these dresses. Half the time the dresses don't fit you. They're either big or they're small. We have
Mhm.
tips and tricks and ways that we navigate that, right? But a person who's never done it before, and they're so much heavier than you think, and hanging
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
so think about it this way for those of you that are feeling really uncomfortable. When I'm changing my brides, I usually turn around so they get my back. I make room for them to jump into the dress. So I'll put the dress on the floor. They step in. When they're ready, they can pull it up and I'll turn around and zip them. So I also ask my brides how shy
Mhm.
they are and what their comfort level is because I don't ever want to make somebody feel uncomfortable. But I
Right.
also like you don't know how to get in these dresses by yourself.
Right.
That and I mean,
Yeah.
this is your job. It's not like you
Right.
do this every day. So you're
Right.
seeing all types of bodies, all types of people come in and out. It's not like it's your job is to make them feel beautiful in what they're wearing, not to judge what they look like
With no clothes
with no
on.
clothes on.
Yeah. I'm not even looking. And like when they're putting on the dress, I'm hanging up the next dress. So think of it this way. Think of it that you don't have to put like, when you go into a dressing room at a store and you make a mess and you're like, oh, now I have to put all of this stuff back on the hanger,
Right.
like how it
Right.
was. 'Cause you want to be rude. You don't have to do that. Your stylist does that for you. So it's like
Yes.
having them in the room takes care of you having to hang everything back up.
Yes. I
Good
want to
tip.
talk about because one thing that I really, really love about Lovella Bridal is that you cater to curvy and plus size women and bodies. I going into having some of my friends who are curvier and plus size getting married, it was something that I did not ever think about being an issue. And even just shopping for everyday clothing for women that are, curvier and that plus size range is so much more difficult. And on you trying on your wedding dress, like we've said, that's the day that you want to feel the most beautiful. How did that come about, and how have you seen your target audience kind of alter and shift with being able to offer to all types of bodies?
Yes. Okay. So first I want to start off by saying that inventory sizes. So I already mentioned bridal stores buy their inventory. A lot of people are really shocked that we pay for inventory, but I don't understand why people think, and I don't mean this in a mean way, but like why
Right.
we wouldn't pay for it, because how would our designers survive, right?
Right.
So the way they're expensive. These dresses are really expensive, and for us to have a really large quantity of dresses, right? We have to have the budget for all of that. So the way that it works, just like a bride ordering her dress takes a lot of time, same with our samples. So designers require us to order the middle of the size chart, which is about a 10 or a 12 in bridal. They do that because they can cut the same dress multiple times in the same exact size for all the bridal stores to land the inventory at the same time. If
Okay.
Oh,
each
that's great.
store if each store was ordering different sizes, they now have to cut different sizes. It slows down the production flow. So, while that's not fair for anybody who's a 0 or a 2, it's those dresses are swimming on them, and anybody who's larger than the sample size, it's definitely not fair for, right?
Right.
It's really difficult for us to navigate this, because there are times where I'm like, okay, let's order a 14. Well, that size 14 came 2 months later than if I had ordered the 10 or the 12 that designer requires you to. So it's quite the delay. And then I don't have that inventory. So what we ended up doing, once we had brides leaving our store in tears because we didn't have dresses for them to try on, that's not
Yeah.
what we're in the business for.
No, not at
We
all.
not at all. What we do is we are dressing women in the most important article of clothing they'll ever wear, making them feel beautiful and confident. So the moment that we're not making you feel beautiful and confident in the most important article of clothing you're ever going to wear, what
Yes.
are we doing here? Like, this is just backwards. So that's when we upped our budget for spending for inventory and duplicating dresses. So if we felt that a dress was something that a lot of brides were really gravitating towards, or different styles. Now, people criticize us for not having the exact same amount of dresses in plus size as we do in our size 10s and 12s, right?
Mhm.
It's impossible for us to do that because some of those dresses aren't even available in a plus size. So
Right.
this is where things get a little bit tricky too. When you're going up to a size 24, 30, designers scales, if it's a low back, if it's a plunging neckline, the amount of construction, the lace design, the placement of lace, the scale is changing. So certain fabrics, certain designs can't be made larger than a size 24 or a 30.
Okay.
So even if I wanted to order a certain dress in a plus size, some designers don't allow it.
Mhm.
So it's a very interesting thing, and it's something that I'm always on the forefront. Our buyers in our store, we're always on the forefront of pushing our designers to give us more plus size dresses. We
Yeah.
have dresses in store that no one else in the world has plus size. There are a few stores now starting to pick them up because they saw what we were doing, which is fantastic. I want
Yes.
that to happen. I want everyone to lean into this. It just is really expensive for the stores, but it's a no-brainer for us because we want to make this a beautiful experience for everybody, no matter how much you're willing to spend, no matter your size. Like, we have options for everyone. Even
Yes.
if you have a really small investment amount, we have sample gowns we can offer you. You may not
Mhm.
like those sample gowns, but we have options. Whether you like the options or not is a whole nother ball game.
Right.
But we
Yeah.
provide them, and it's whatever we got.
That is such great insider information, just what you were talking about with the designers and the scale of, what might be a plunging neckline or a low bag. It changes, the fabric and the way the fabric moves.
Yeah.
That's really, I think, really great info for brides to know out there
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. I do want to talk really quickly. Well, two more things, and then we're going to ask you to share a story. I Before we get to the story, I want to talk about your book just for a second. But you kind of touched on fittings and alterations,
Yeah.
and that is something that I don't know if a lot of people understand. Like, once you buy your dress, that's not it. You're not done. You have to come back and get it
Right.
fitted. And then if it change anything, like I made custom changes to my dress. So I had to go back even more times. And then you have your alterations, and then you have your accessories. Are people shocked when they kind of, are like, oh, so we're going to get to know each other? Cause I don't think people, I'm serious. Like, I don't think people understand, like, you need to really love the environment of the place that you got your dress from, because it's not just a one-stop shop. Like, you will be going back. You need to have that connection with your stylist. Like you said, it's something, and you've got to at some point be able to say, okay, is there any way we could bring it in here? I don't love this, speak up. But are people kind of like, oh, so I need to come back, or, oh, this alteration is how much? Like, which I'm sure they are, but
Yes. So this is a phenomenal question, because I have brides that we explain this whole thing to them, right? Like, I can explain it a bunch of times,
yeah.
but if you are still seeing me as a salesperson, what I'm saying goes in one ear and out the other, and they just don't get it, to the point where, like, you told me story time in a minute, but I'm going to tell one story really quick, because I think it's we had a bride that came and got her dress from us. She wanted us to order this cape and make custom changes. This particular designer does not make it easy for us to do custom changes. It's a very long, grueling process. 9 out of 10 brides do not like the custom change. We don't want to make that sale. Yes, you heard me right. We say, no, we are not taking that sale. She went to another store who took the sale. And so she had 2 experiences. She had the Lovella experience, where we walk you through everything. And I don't want to make it seem like Lovella is so incredible. We're human. We make mistakes. We're not, like, flawless all the time. I just want to
hype yourself up.
you know what I mean? But, like, we do make mistakes. But she had the Lovella experience, which we're very clear on. Well, we know what works. We know what doesn't work. We do things a certain way. She went to the store, did the custom change, and she was like, oh my God, my 2 experiences were night and day. If only I listened to you all. And she goes, it should have been a major, like, light, like, epiphany, like, aha moment, that you didn't want to make that money, because what store wouldn't want to make a sale? Like, you had a reason for it, but I was too stubborn, and I went and I did this, and it's been a nightmare. The alterations process was a nightmare. Like, everything was a nightmare. So, to your point, picking your store is so important, that you vibe with them, that you connect with them, that you identify with them, because we kind of make the analogy that this is kind of like having a baby. When you buy the dress, it's inception, and then you're coming in for your checkups, which are your and all of that, right? Like, we are becoming one here, and then
then you graduate, your wedding.
Exactly. It's the delivery. So the alteration process, which we actually don't have the capacity to do all alterations of brides that we have in our alteration department, has gotten smaller over the years, just because there's so much demand. So we have a list of seamstresses that we source out to, which is great. And we know that they'll do a great job. But yes, when it comes to the alterations, I want to touch on, you order the size of your dress based on your bust, waist, and hip measurement. So based on those measurements, you're lined up on the size chart, and you order the size closest to you. Very, very rarely, I would say about 2 to 5% of brides, their dresses come in, fit them perfectly in the body. Maybe they need just a hem and a bustle, or they're tall and with a heel, they don't need a hem. Like, it's so rare to have that. 9 out of 10 brides must have body work done, a hem, and a bustle. And for those who don't know what a bustle is, it's where we customize and gather the train up so that you can move around freely throughout your wedding.
Yes. Yeah. No, I love that. I think that's such good information to know.
Yeah.
Because again, it's, people are like, okay, well, I have to get to know my photographer really well. I need to know my wedding planner really well. But it's like, the other places, I don't think anyone realizes.
Well, I think it's one of the first places that people go when they get engaged is dress shopping.
Yes, absolutely.
And so they're brand new right out of the gate, and they haven't done a lot of research, and they really don't know what questions to ask and what to look for. So I think it's just kind of by default that happens.
Yeah. But, okay. Before we get to, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's also kind of like your car. You buy your car and you're constantly taking it in for service for different things, and becoming friends with your service advisor, I have learned over the years, is a game changer, because It's a game changer, like, if you are friends and especially through COVID. So my mom recently had to take her car in, and she goes, "Oh, they won't give me a rental because of COVID." I looked at her and I said, "You didn't build a strong enough relationship with your advisor." Because I'm telling you, my advisor was out on maternity leave. His wife had a baby, so he took a mat leave too, which I thought was really neat. And so I showed up, I got a flat tire, and I showed up, and everyone at the dealership knew how close my advisor and I are. And he goes, "Oh, you're one of Kevin's. I got you. I have a car waiting for you." But they supposedly don't give cars out during COVID. So it's all about building relationships with people. Like, I cannot hone in on that enough. When you are assigned an advisor or a stylist or a salesperson, whoever it is, build a relationship with them. They will go above and beyond for you. They will break all the rules for you if they can, right?
Yes.
But if you are good to them, they will be so, so good to you.
And I mean, could not be more true for the wedding industry.
Yeah.
I think that's super important because I mean, not that the other industries don't deserve that too, but it is like a huge momentous time in your life.
It is, yeah, and it only comes once, and it's not forever. Like, it's just for however many months. Okay, so really quickly before we get into story time, which I'm very excited about, will you please tell us a little bit about your book that you have?
Yes. So I wrote the book. I think it was 2018. I wrote the book because I had so many brides coming in asking for all these different questions. And I felt like the beginning of my appointment, I was educating the bride where she was seeking out info, and everybody online that was putting stuff out there didn't work in a bridal store, right? It was like a blogger or an editor or this or that. And they were gathering information, but they didn't know it firsthand. So that's when I was like, screw this. I'm going to put content out there. So then my book was born. It's called I'm Getting Married and Have Nothing to Wear, The Ultimate Guide to Finding Your Perfect Wedding Dress.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Thank you. A lot of bridal stylists also use the book as a training tool so that they're using that information. So it's really cool. What I really wanted to lean into is, like I said, I want to make this a positive experience for women. And I had just heard so much frustration behind it. So once my book was born, then I created the brand Wedding Fashion Expert. I have a YouTube where on every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I have a new video that goes out. It's a combination of questions from brides, questions from bridal stylists. So you also see me answer like industry questions for those in the industry that want to learn. So really helping everybody. I just want to touch as many women as possible. And there's only so much I could do being in one location. So that's when I took the education online and just really spreading my wings to give it to as many people. And it's crazy. There are people from Amsterdam, Australia, like they all message.
Wow.
So the reach is really cool. And it's amazing to see the impact that, online and even being able to have this book has done for the industry, for clients. Like it's been really cool. So I feel really
I mean, there's, power in knowledge. And again, I don't, obviously we're in the wedding industry, so that's why I like to, harp on it and focus on it. But again, people are about to jump into something that they've never done before. And I just think the education component is so important and so valuable. So that's really great.
Yeah.
And the one thing I'm going to just quick add for anybody who wants, I almost didn't publish the book. Everybody always looks at me and is like, she's so confident. This is so easy for her. There was all the negative self-talk in there. Nobody's going to read it. This information's stupid. Like all of that noise was there. So I just want to also encourage, like, if there's anything that you want to do in your career or something that you've been, toying with the idea of actually following through with it. So many people create it and never actually introduce it to the world. I just want you to know that all that self-doubt, the self-criticism, all of that was there. And I have really amazing people around me that said, Nayri, just do it. Like you have to publish it. So I did. And I'm so grateful that I did.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, look at where it has gotten you. So that's wonderful.
Yes. Okay. Story time.
Story
We want to
time.
hear your crazy, shitty, wild wedding stories that you have from your bridal salon or from anything else that you've gone through. So time to spill.
I think that honestly, this story is hands down the craziest story of my career. So I had a couple that at the last minute, the bride, so she had multiple dresses, very lavish wedding, absolutely beautiful. This was in 2017, I think, or 2018. But anyway, she super lavish, or maybe 2019. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But she had multiple dresses and she had a cape and all these different looks. So she's at her last fitting. It's 2 weeks before her wedding. It's out of state. She's from out of state. And her fiance have come to the store to drive the dresses back. She begs me to drive the dresses to the wedding and be there the whole weekend to dress her. This is not a service I provide. This isn't something I do. And so I decide to do it because I really love the wedding planner. The wedding planner and I get along very well. We see eye to eye. I understand that the expectation of my role there will be respected. I feel safe doing it, all the things. So I decide to do it. Fast forward, it's wedding day. Okay, wait. I have to say this. So the groom was like, "Wait, why are we driving home without the dresses?" And she's like, "Oh, the bridal store messed up. Like they're going to deliver it because they messed up." We didn't mess up. I didn't know this part of the story. Okay, I had no idea.
Oh, no.
So he's all like pissed because he's like, "Well, we would have flown if we weren't going to drive, whatever." Okay. So I end up there at the wedding. It's the wedding day. Ceremony happens. There's all these candles out. He's looking at me while I'm like fixing her up, like, who the hell is this girl? Like, he has no idea who I am, right? And I could tell, like, his eyes are on me, like, who is she? But whatever, we're moving on. Ceremony's over. They're walking down the aisle to take photos, and portraits with the family and all of that, where there's all these candles. Somehow a white candle spills and it gets all over his pant leg. So it's black pants with white candle wax down his pants, down the shoe, everything. So I'm going to let you imagine what a white drippy stain looks like. But it was so we haven't done the first dance yet. We haven't done they have a daughter, they have multiple daughters, but he was going to do a first dance with the eldest daughter, a first dance with his wife, like all these things, right?
Oh God.
Next thing you know, I am now in the bathroom with him, with the groom, he's in his underwear, and I have the pants in my hand. I'm Googling, like, how the heck do I get candle wax off the pant? He and I are having small talk. Like,
You're like, we're both uncomfortable. It's fine.
Yeah. He's like, who are you? He's sitting on like the toilet. It's a big bathroom, but it's like, like, it's a whole thing. Like the seat's down. There's nowhere for him to sit. So he's sitting on the toilet. Meanwhile, like he's an NBA player. So he's this really big guy. And we have security out front. We're killing time. I'm fixing the pants, the shoes, doing all the things. So apparently for anyone who needs to know to get candle wax off, you just like heat it and you scrape it off. So that's what I was doing with the steamer. I was like scraping it. So anybody who ever needs to get candle wax off. We're sitting there talking and he's like, so who are you? I'm like, oh, I'm actually with the bridal store that the bride got her dress from. And he's like, oh yeah, the store that messed up. And I'm like,
So that one.
Out, the reason the story is that she had to pay me to be there out of a different bank account that he didn't know about. And so now though I'm his like favorite, I know it's a whole thing.
That is so funny.
She's like, no, babe, they messed up.
Exactly. Right. And so now I'm like one of his most favorite people that he's ever met. And he's like, she was worth every penny. Give her more money. She saved.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
It took me literally half an hour in this groom when he thinks I'm the evil person that made him drive out. I didn't deliver. Like it's just a whole thing.
You're like, thanks so much for being
Well,
here.
it all worked out in the end. I for sure thought you were going to say something caught on fire.
I did too. I was thinking like the taffeta, the veil, something. I'm like, oh my gosh, the dress went whoop.
No. Thank goodness. Nothing went on fire, but it was definitely not an ideal circumstance because we had to take portraits and like hide his legs. So I was like hiding it. Like it was just a lot of candle wax on black. It did not look good. No one caught on fire. but it was, I never quite imagined being in a bathroom with a stranger in his underwear. Like that was,
I can just picture
not his wedding day also.
I had this whole visual while you're telling the story, and he's like, so who are you anyway?
Like,
I just
explain what you're doing here.
Who are you? Why are you getting, why you have my pants? And
oh my gosh.
Oh, great story.
Thank you so much, Nayri. If you can please let everyone know where they can find you, follow, subscribe to all of the things that you do. I'm going to let you list them all out now.
Amazing. Yeah. So on Instagram, you can follow at Wedding Fashion Expert. We have Lovella Bridal and Lovella Plus. So the 3 pages on Instagram. TikTok is just at Lovella Bridal and at Wedding Fashion Expert. And then YouTube, Wedding Fashion Expert. All the links are on Instagram as well. So you can connect all the things for free downloads, whatever you need. Slide into my DMs, ask any question. I'm always happy to help and support you throughout anything.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for being on. This was a very funny story. I'm going to be laughing about that for a little bit, but also very informative.
Very informative.
And it was a really, really great. I'm so happy that you were able to come on.
Likewise. Thank you so much for having me.